Andre, if I could just jump in for a second here, looking at the map, and a lot of Americans are going to think, well, okay, that's sort of Putin's neighborhood. Why does it matter to us Americans? And of course, if you look at that map, we have legal treaty commitments with three of the countries that are east of that red line, and then other interests in that region. So when Americans are thinking of why is Putin going all the way back to the year 1800 to redraw boundaries, how would that matter to, say, American national interests?
Okay, this is a new question, but I understand that it's a very important question. So my answer to that would be, first of all, you mentioned that United States has some obligations within NATO for Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania that are members of NATO. And according to the Article 5, there is a kind of mutual obligations of the members of this organization. As for other countries, including Belarus, Ukraine, and Moldova, there is a so-called Helsinki Agreement in 1975 that stipulated that all signatories to this agreement must respect internationally recognized borders. And internationally recognized borders of Ukraine, Moldova, and Belarus are so sacrosanct as Russian borders. And that is why it's not only legal obligation, but it seems to me that in the interest of all Europeans and Americans to keep peace in Europe, because violation of these borders can be done with using force, brutal force, as we can see for 8 consecutive year, the war in Ukraine, in eastern Ukraine, and we saw in year 2008 war aggression of Kremlin against Georgia. And we also have a conflict, is not solved finally, conflict in Moldova, when Transnistria is under semi-occupation with the Russian, so-called Russian peacekeepers. So in the interest of the United States, of Western countries, of European countries, to keep peace, international peace and stability in the whole European continent. And we have seen twice in the previous century that some territorial claims to the neighbors led to the 2 world wars with uncountable losses and victims and unbelievable destruction of the European continent and other continents as well. And one of the lessons that have been learned from these 2 world wars, unbelievably bloody world wars, is that the sooner aggressor is being stopped, the lesser the price will be for the whole world and also for the United States. So it's one of the very important lessons, and that is why it seems to me that the United States is interested in keeping a peace, certainly in Europe, in the Middle East, in the Far East, everywhere, as well as any other nation, some kind of civilized nation in the world, is interested in keeping peace. And if there is a conflict, if there is a problems exist, so they can be solved by peaceful methods, but not with violence, with not using force.
So then just to remind viewers also, maybe to throw it out as a point of discussion, the Clinton administration had promised, and Joe Biden, when he was a lead member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, had promised that the United States would ensure the territorial integrity of Belarus and Ukraine if they surrendered their Soviet-inherited nuclear weapons to Russia. And this was a key to persuading Ukraine, especially, to give up its nuclear weapons. So this means that the United States' word to maintain its international commitments will be worthless because of this commitment that Clinton and Biden and many Republicans put the U.S. in to ensure the boundaries of those 2 countries.
You're absolutely right. Yes, it was a so-called Budapest Memorandum of 1994 that had been signed by Ukraine, Russia, United Kingdom, United States. And the United States, as well as United Kingdom and Russia, and later France also joined this agreement. This memorandum gave assurance to Ukraine to preserve territorial integrity of this country in exchange of Ukraine giving up its nuclear arsenal. And there is some calculations how much. First of all, this is some kind of legal or kind of international treaty or international statement obligations on the part of United States and United Kingdom and France. But also there is a very clear economic benefit for the United States as well for other countries, because some kind of destruction of this nuclear arsenal, this kind of the country that ceased to be a nuclear power led to substantial decline of military expenditures for the United States. So that is why it's also very substantial benefit. And
so regardless that we have a U.S. commitment to ensure the territorial integrity of those two countries, while Putin is saying, no, we're not going to pay any attention to it. This is part of historic Russia.
Yes, that's a very important point, because Putin is trying to play game with two hands.